Hello lords and ladies, welcome back to Cartoon Hangout, your place for all things cartoon. I hope you had a fun, safe Halloween. I just finished watching some movies with my family and friends myself. It was a pretty good time and I'm plumb tuckered out, but I know I would regret not trying to get this review up when it's still relevant to the season. So here I am at 11 p.m. praying the download of this episode will speed up, it's currently saying 1 hour left, so I can watch the episode, write its review, and get it up on time. Suffice it is to say I doubt it'll be up before Halloween is over, but at least I tried, right? The aptly titled Halloween sees the gang investigate a mystery on Halloween, much to poor Fred's chagrin. Years ago, as a kid, he'd witnessed a witch in a disappearing house, making it his first unsolved mystery. It would haunt him every year for the rest of his life. Now the same witch is at it again, and with the help of his friends, he'll finally solve this long-running mystery. The episode is a pretty entertaining one, with a decent amount of humor and a solid villain, helped by the fact that Fred has a history with her. And if you enjoy this type of thing, Velma's very informative about the roots of Halloween, so hey, you learned something from a Scooby-Doo episode. Some of the highlights of the episode were Scoob and Shaggy playing their trick-or-treating, or Daphne dressed as Zombie Velma. I know I'll be asked about the witch, but no, I don't think she's based on a specific Scooby-Doo villain from the past. She's a generic witch, as far as I can see. I didn't look her up, but come on, witches are very common. I'm not spoiling who the culprit is, but I got a kick out of knowing that one of the Scooby characters agreed with them. To a point, anyway. I'll let you see when you watch it, which is currently free to watch on boomerang.com, though it may be over by the time this video goes up. As far as Halloween episodes go, it's probably not the best the franchise has ever done, but even a lesser Be Cool Scooby-Doo episode is still incredibly good. The animation's smooth, the soundtrack is catchy, and I love that old-timey film effect that they use during the chase scenes. Really added to the atmosphere. Now, Halloween may not have gone out of its way to be completely crazy or groundbreaking, but it's still clear to me that these writers know Scooby-Doo and know what will work on Be Cool Scooby-Doo. The episode is a fun watch, especially on Halloween. I can't recommend it enough. And that's it for me. The Halloween season is officially over, and it's time to return to the normal, less spooky cartoon hangout. I hope you enjoyed all the special content I released during the month, and if you missed out on any of it, make sure to check out my 5 movies to watch on Halloween, as well as my Return of Skullface live-action series. Thanks for watching, and take care. Hello lords and ladies, welcome back to Cartoon Hangout, your place for all things cartoon. Night of the Living Dead is as classic as horror movies go. Created by the late Romero, it's considered not only one of the best horror movies of all time, but also one of the best zombie movies. The film is often credited as the birthplace of the modern zombie, with tons of movies and projects paying homage and respect to the movie years later. Due to a mistake on Romero's part, the movie was public domain, meaning anyone could take the film and do what they want. This has led to a host of remakes and reboots even to this day, which is how something like this recent film, Night of the Animated Dead, came to be. It's not the first time Romero's classic has been remade in animation. I've even reviewed one of the previous attempts a few years ago. And honestly, I've always believed someone should redo the movie as a cartoon. There are so many creative things you can do in animation, and we're short on horror cartoons to begin with. So when I saw this movie existed, I knew I had to watch it. I mean, look at that beautiful cover art. This is gonna look... Oh. Yeah. Talk about misleading covers. Well, certainly a step up from the awful CGI take on the original, Night of the Animated Dead is hardly what I'd call a good-looking cartoon. Actually, it looks more like an Adult Swim show. It's animated similarly, too. It's a shame, because the background, and even some of the CGI for the vehicles, looks nice. And then you have this eyesore plastered on top of them. I googled the animation studio after I finished the movie, and all their other works look great. Seriously, their 2D animation is gorgeous. So how in the world did they make this? Maybe in trying to replicate the style of the original, they ended up stumbling a bit. Because this is pretty bad by 2021 standards. And it was published by Warner Brothers of all companies. No one checked to see if the animation looked good? But what of the story, you ask? Well, It's Night of the Living Dead. The animated remake doesn't veer too far from the original, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. It's faithful to a T, but it also doesn't do much else. It does feature loads more gory shots than the black and white film, which is pretty neat to see. But if you've seen the original, then you've already seen this one. For a time, I even thought they hadn't redubbed it and just used the voices from the original. I checked though, and they did bring in new voice actors. So, another positive mark in the film's favor, because I almost couldn't tell the difference. I held out hope that this would be a fantastic animated remake of a beloved horror movie. It's something I've wanted for years now, so it's a bit disappointing to see that we still don't have a good one yet. While I am generally in favor of faithful remakes, I think the movie could have done more than just add more detailed zombie kills. Some exploration of the characters would have been nice. It's not the worst thing that's come out this year, and it may even be worth watching for the animated gimmick alone, but I expected more, and this wasn't it. Have you seen Night of the Animated Dead? Share your opinion on it down below, and what other horror films would you like to see get the Animated Dead treatment? Preferably not by this studio. Also, do you want to get reviews like this early? Become a member. Details below. Thanks for watching, and take care. Hello lords and ladies, welcome back to Cartoon Hangout Reanimated, your place for all things cartoon. Ever since Marvel confirmed that there would be a Marvel Zombies episode in their anthology series What If, I've been excited to review it. Heck, it's the only episode I even wanted to watch, and I'm probably not going to check out any of the other ones. I love zombie horror, and fans have always talked about what an MCU version of the comic book Marvel Zombies would look like. And while we don't get a full movie, it's probably too R-rated for someone like Marvel, we do at least get an episode based on the popular comic book. The plot of the episode starts from the part of Infinity War where Hulk comes home to warn of Thanos, but deviates in that the world has been zombified while he was away. From there, Banner encounters zombie heroes and various survivors on the hunt for a cure and to survive. The explanation for the virus is a bit different from the comics, which was, complicated, to say the least. In the episode, it's explained away as a quantum virus. I read some reviews that had an issue with this simplistic and relatively unexplained reason, but I don't think its origins are that important, at least for a 30-minute episode. Now, what I did have a problem with, as shared by others, was the inconsistent tone. Zombie fiction is by no means restricted to a serious tone, and can be comedic as well. But this episode didn't balance the seriousness of Earth's heroes being zombies and the jokes the characters cracked. Many times I was puzzled at how the characters were reacting to dire moments with one-liners. Not only did they seem to joke around while killing former humans, but they also easily brushed off killing their former friends.
That was your friend. Sorry about that.
I should be sad, but I'm not.
Spider-Man and Scott Lang cracking jokes make sense, but even then, some of their humor felt off and insulting considering the events surrounding them. Even Bucky doesn't seem to care about killing Sam or Captain America, and they were both his friends. I'm not saying the episode needed to be grim all the way through, but I think they needed to rein some of the jokes in. Other than that complaint, the rest of the episode was pretty decent. This is my first time seeing the animation for the show in action, and it seemed alright. It's nothing to write home about, but nothing terrible either. I'm also glad they went with some gore, or at least some gruesome deaths, because this is Marvel Zombies after all. You can't have one without the other. Also, I want to go back to the writing for just a moment, but I did like the bits, the scenes with Parker and Hope, especially towards the end. Sometimes the writing in the episode really shined when it stopped to get serious. The ending really makes me want to see a part 2, but I'm not sure what else could be done, really. Spoilers, but most of the planet, or at least the heroes, are dead. Unless the ones off-world show up, how do they expect to defeat Thanos now? Maybe the writers could come up with something? I don't know. With that said, that'll be it for me on What If's zombie episode. Despite the inconsistency in tone throughout the episode, I did still find it enjoyable to watch, and I would definitely recommend it for any MCU fan to check out. is likely as close to horror as you're going to get out of Marvel. If you'd like to see videos like this one early, consider becoming a member. Links below. Thanks for watching and take care. Hello lords and ladies, welcome back to Cartoon Hangout, your place for all things cartoon. This is a show I've been kind of looking forward to seeing for a few months now, despite never looking that much into it. I tend to avoid previews and things so I can make up my own mind and be surprised when I actually watch it. See, I love spooky things, and while this is nowhere near like horror movie level, The Ghost and Molly McGee gives me huge Courage the Cowardly Dog or even Casper vibes. The series is about the titular character Molly moving into a new house that's haunted by the ghost Scratch. The latter has kept the town of Brighton miserable for a while, something that some ghost council keeps track of. This is a part that heavily reminds me of Casper, the movies and cartoon stuff specifically, where there's some big fancy ghost judging how good the others are at scares. It could honestly be a part of the Casper universe without being too jarring, but it's its own thing. Molly proves to be a problem for Scratch, who wants nothing more than to scare her out of his house. She's hyper and optimistic, which in fiction is a perfect counterpart to the grumpy character Scratch. Just from the first episode alone, the two bounce off each other perfectly. It's a fun little dynamic that I think can definitely carry the entire show, with parts of it even reminding me of Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy and how they owned him as a best friend forever. Of course, there will likely be some criticism of there being yet another hyper-female Disney character in the vein of Mabel from Gravity Falls or Star Butterfly. But as far as this episode goes, I don't think she's too overbearing just yet. It helps to have, to parrot someone else, a character to ground her. That being Scratch, obviously. This is one of those 2 11-minute segments type cartoons. So you've got The Curse up first, and then First Day Frights. The first half of this episode is just setup. It introduces Molly, Scratch, the Ghost Council people, and Molly's family. It's a decent enough start, and I got a genuine laugh out of some of the bits in this half, like this scene here at the start. It's random, but funny. Other than that, there isn't really much else to comment on in this episode. I personally enjoyed First Day Frights the best, as it gets us out of the house and lets us see how the characters interact at Molly's school. Molly is stressed over being an outcast, and Scratch is trying to make her day the worst. It's a fun episode, with different hijinks occurring thanks in part to Scratch. One of my favorite moments being either Molly dragging Andrea around in a janitor's cart after being scared unconscious by Scratch, or maybe Andrea's freak out earlier of her name being mispronounced twice. Some other highlights from this episode were the family themselves. They all seem like great, funny characters, from the sassy grandma to the weird, quirky dad. I especially loved him and seeing his reactions to Molly's ghost friend and him abandoning his family at first.
Leave the cereal! Leave everything! Leave yourself!
As for the mother and brother, they don't get too much room to really express themselves in this first episode, but they don't seem like awful characters, and I'm sure future episodes will give them some more focus. There's also a musical sequence in this episode. I don't know if this is going to be a recurring theme in the show, but it's not outright terrible. When I think of amazing songs in a Disney show, I default, obviously, to Phineas and Ferb. And while this show has no connection to that one, besides the channel it airs on, The Ghost and Molly McGee will have to work really hard to wow me with their songs, because this one wasn't the best. In general, I think this show could be a hit. It's wonderfully animated with a really cool, unique art style that I haven't really seen in a while. And the voice cast really brings their characters to life. Even Ashley Birch does a good job as the main character. And I recognize the voice actor for Scratch from such shows as Chowder and Co-Monkey, so I'm really excited that he's on the show. It's also a perfect show for the Halloween season, and should get you in the appropriate mood easily enough. And that will be it from me. Let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments below, as well as letting me know if you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing for more reviews like this. And if you want early access to these videos, you can become a member and get cool perks, like early access to videos at least a week ahead of everyone else, or member-exclusive videos. Thanks for watching, and take care.